Hi, we're doing something a little bit different for our small groups this year. I thought that each week I would maybe give a little summary of the sermon and some thoughts for you going forward into your small group. And I'm really glad that you're there and you're participating in a small group, and I'm really praying that you have an insightful time and a good discussion time together. So this year we're looking at this series, What is God Like? And I started with a couple of assumptions that we, first of all, believe that God is, and secondly, that he reveals himself in Scripture. And I think that's pretty standard for most of us, but it's just good to stay off the start. And I wanted to do that from the book of Exodus and how God reveals himself to Moses and to the children of Israel in that book. And if you're not familiar, it's been a while, you could certainly read the first couple of chapters, bring you up to speed. And then chapter 3 was where we spent some time on Sunday looking at God speaking to Moses out of that burning bush. And Moses is an important character. He'll come up again and again. The children of Israel are going to be led by Moses out of captivity, out of the land of Egypt and into the promised land. But there's going to be all kinds of obstacles and all kinds of difficulty along the way. And of course it starts just with understanding what's happening, what's going on. But in that encounter with Moses, God reveals some things about himself. Number one, that he's compassionate, that he has heard the cries of the Israelites, that he's seen them in captivity. And more than that, he is concerned about their suffering. It says that he's come down to do something. God hears and sees, and he takes action on behalf of his people. And it's specifically when they're in captivity. And we might think about captivity to sin, or we might think about captivity in any number of ways. But it's good to know that God is there, that he hears, that he's concerned. He reveals his name to Moses as I am who I am, shortened to Yahweh. And this speaks to God's self-existence. He has no reference point to anybody else, but he just is, in and of himself. And that's important, that he stands alone from everything else, alone from his creation, but he wants to be a part of his creation. And he wants to be a part of the life of the people that he's created to be with. And finally, he's eternal, that he is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. He always was, always will be. He's not just some temporal God. It's not just about here and now. But we have to keep eternity in mind as we think about God and his nature, and also our nature and what that means. I said that at the end of the sermon that, one of the things that stuck out to me was I was thinking about the two significant events in the life of Israel, the Exodus and the exile, and how both of these occurred on foreign soil. And that, when God gets us away from the known, away from our home, sometimes that's when he does his best work in us. And so my hope is that as you talk about this, as you discuss this, as you have some clarity about what the Scripture says, what God is like, and share your ideas and thoughts and challenge one another, but also that you'll take away sort of what is it that God can do in your heart and life at this time. And how are you positioning yourself before God over these next few weeks to hear more of his nature and his character and what he can do. So I hope you have a great group tonight, and looking forward to the next few weeks with you. God bless.